does everything gotta be so heavy? Knock you down when you're down already. Oh, so much to carry. Why does everything gotta be so heavy? All the drama lately, yeah, it's overrated. So unnecessary, yeah, I just can't take this feeling anymore. Leave it at the door. I've been falling over, too much on my shoulders. You can only think so much before you break down. All I really need is space to breathe. Why does everything gotta be so heavy? Knock you down when you're down already. Oh, so much to carry. Why does everything gotta be so heavy? Stop, just wait a minute. I just need a second to regain my peace of mind before I explode. 'Cause there's a lot of things I can't control. I can't control. Why does everything gotta be so heavy? Knock you down when you're down already. Oh, so much to carry. Why does everything gotta be so heavy? Ooh, to the people in the back, all the way to the front row, front row. Ooh, now let me hear you back. Sometimes I gotta let go, let go. Ooh, to the people in the back, all the way to the front row, front row. Ooh, now let me hear you back. Sometimes I gotta let go, let go. Ooh, to the people in the back, all the way to the front row, front row. Ooh, now see it on back. Sometimes I gotta let go, let go. Ooh, to the people in the back, all the way to the front row, front row. Ooh, now see it on back. Sometimes I gotta let go, let go. Why does everything gotta be so?
What up, Wednesday? My hair was perfect and now it's not. Oh, damn it. Hi. I am so happy to be here. I am off center, but I'm still happy to be here. You can't get a little slant to ruin my groove. No way. I'm in a great mood today. I hope you are too, and you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Or if you are my friend Gomanath, who's coming in from India, I think it might be Thursday, because I think you're 14 and a half hours ahead of me. Where was that comment? I saw you, friend. There you go. Gomanath, good to see you as always. Today on What Up Wednesday, we are going to do what we were supposed to do last week. Take two. Oh, that's the wrong sound effect. That is hilarious. Look, is it me live streaming if I don't have one of those? It's not. So yes, we're going to take two on understanding team tactics, and we are going tactics. And that is what we are going to cover today. Let's see if I can get my mic looking a little fresher here, a little sharper. And I've got a couple of little reaction things as well, because, you know, I figure this will only take us about half hour. It's no problem. Just whiz right through it. Won't even know it's there. Understanding team tactics and how understanding them could make you a more effective umpire. As always, this is a highly interactive session, folks. I know I'm sitting here in my lovely apartment, which I am so grateful for. And it seems like it's a one-person show, but it's not. No, friends, you are the secret sauce. You are what make this magic happen. So I want your comments, your questions, your input, your ideas, because that is what makes this show so much fun and so great. All right, I'm going to have a look and see who's here. And I'm going to do that with the aid of spectacles. First, Niels, well played. Annalene, look, You guys have this going on. Andy Waller, big warm welcome to you. For everybody at home, I would like to give you a little hint as to what's to come with my friend Andy Waller. We are working on ways to get him more involved in the whole the whole broadcast thing. So we're working on it. It's in progress. I'm actually in the process of trying to add somebody as a moderator. Actually, add Andy as a moderator, but that seems a little bit challenging right now. So I'm not sure if I can do that. Andy, I need the URL of your YouTube channel. And I know you probably don't have a channel, like no pressure. This is not what I'm saying, but I think I need that in order to know what's happening. Anyway, and in order to add you as a moderator, God, just when I think I have things under control, everything like my stream deck is all nicely set up. I got my sound effects. I got my hair's on point today, like not mad. And I think, yeah, this is going to be smooth as silk. Adam, it's great to have you as always. Good to have you. Rachel, are you ready? Did you say yes? Did you say yes on Facebook? Okay, because I asked you a question. And I need to make sure because, you know, it's your account is private and I don't want to infringe on anything at all. So let me know if that's okay with you. Go check Facebook if you haven't. Simon, happy to have you. And as I mentioned before, Gopinath. Yes, good to see you. Must be Thursday. Peter, you're testing the 4G tonight. Let me know how that goes for you. I think the YouTubes are pretty good at that. Generally up. What up, dog walk? Nice. Hey, getting your exercise while you're just listening to this is, I think, a great use of time. So, I mean, look, when my hair is looking this good, you got to take a glance. But after that, you don't have to watch this whole thing necessarily, especially when I sit here and I wave my hands about and pontificate for a while. So you might as well. David, what? Hi, Tomo. Good to have you. What time is it for you? I'm thinking it's about 5 a.m. Is that right? Or it's like really late at night. I can't remember. Just in time, Ian, of course. Ooh, after umpiring 2 games back to back, you'll feel it tomorrow. Haven't even got get that beer sorted, sir. I'm concerned. No, I'm just kidding. It's really not all about the rosés, but it's going to be all about the rosés in a moment. Lou, great to have you. You got your checklist. Good. Okay, so I think a whole bunch of you have come through and tried to get your hands on the pre-match chat card that I talked about in one of my YouTube shorts. Go have a look. I'm not sure about this whole short thing. I feel a little self-conscious because it's very like, hey, I'm talking for 59 seconds. And it's weird. But if that seems like something that's helping you, let me know. And if you have ideas for other shorts I should do. I think I'm doing presentation next. So a 5-video series on presentation. But if you didn't go through and you haven't got a chance to get this yet, FHumpires.com/pre-match to get a version of a pre-match card that may be of assistance to you. And hopefully MailChimp is working. I don't even know what's happening over there. I've spent more time with MailChimp support in the last few days than I've spent with my parents over the last year. And that bothers me. They're nice people, but I'd like their stuff just to work. Scott's here. Hey, friend. And Kat, good to see you as always. What are you working on these days? Let me know. Speaking of working on, oh, geez. That just reminded me. What is it, the 14th? Okay, I have 2 more days till deadline day with Jade Bloomfield at the Hockey World News. If you don't subscribe or if you don't pick up your free editions of the Hockey World News, please do. And if you have enjoyed the Hockey World News content in the past, go support them. I believe they have a Patreon, and I think it's really important to, whoops, I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. It's really important for us to show our support for our sport and the people who need it. Just, you can't produce something that kind of quality without putting a ton of time and effort into it. So please go and give them a support. That would be amazing. Okay. Welcome to the third team when I sort out the technology. Yeah. Look, the struggle is real. Okay. It's a lot of struggle. Okay, good. Oh, you're all sent. It is 11 p.m. Oh, yes. After 30 minutes. Yes. Okay, so you're almost into Thursday. I was close. Look, my math on the fly is not my strongest point. Goners! Hey! I mean, I like seeing you under Badger's profile. Don't get me wrong. That's always a nice touch. But it's good to see you and your smiling face. My favorite. It's nice to see you. It's been a hot minute. Let me know what you've been up to. Let's say, yeah? Is that really like, yes? Okay, you're right. Duco, very warm welcome. I believe you're new. It's nice to have you. Please say, everybody, welcome Duco. I am very happy to have you, and I hope that this is a worthwhile experience for you. And you keep coming back week after week. Let me know what you think. It's 6 a.m. Dude, you're crazy. Stain's here. Oh. Girl, are you thoroughly concerned? Yes, you are. This is my friend Kombucha from my live streaming family. It's so good to see you, hun. I hope you're well. Don't worry. You don't have to stick around when I start talking about umpiring because you're going to be like, Don't worry. Blackman does it every time. The digital Buddha. He's like, hi, bye. Good. Adam's got his pre-match card. Just call you Gopi. Okay, I can do that. That's a great name, Gopi. Blake is here. Hi. I don't know if I've seen you on the chats before. What is the URL for the Hockey World News, please? Okay, I need to move this out of the way. Let me do this. I can multitask. No, not when I spell HTTPS like that. Oh, did they go? Okay. Andy Waller. Andy Waller, I need your help. hockeyworldnews.com. See if that works. And I am going to, I'm sorry, I'm just like, hey to Kombucha. Did I put a comment up? I'm not sure if I did. There you go. There's a, let's see. Kat is going to hopefully add the URL. Yours might not be clickable because you're not a mod, Kat, but I can make you a mod. I should make you a mod. And welcome to the family. Yes. Great to have you all. This is very nice. Okay, I put this in. They just changed their URL, so it's not my fault. Okay. Great. That is fantastic. Thank you all, as always, for popping over from the Facebooks. We've been going through this little transition for a hot minute, and my pattern of creating the alerts for the streams has been a little bit disrupted. I've been a little remiss in getting my notices out early, and I get on everybody else in the live stream community who don't promote their streams. It infuriates me. I'm like, I want to be there. I need advance notice. And then I don't do it myself. And I'm like, oh, sorry. So I'm trying to fix that. Let's see. Announcements. Let's see. Okay, if you're in yellow, you might have been receiving a couple of emails from me in the last couple of days because of MailChimp. So if you're annoyed, I'm sorry. Their whole back server cache on my account had to get flushed, and so everybody is getting sent through an automation sequence that at least it's letting you know that the huddles are there. So don't forget about our team talks, our huddles. So once a week in 2 different time slots. So I've got one for my David Tomlinson type friends who are in the Southern Hemisphere, and one for Northern Hemisphere friends. I'm trying to be there for all of you. all of you. So please do go sign up if you're part of Yellow. If you're wondering, what is this magical FHU3T Yellow thing that I'm talking about? Well, friends, you can sign up and you can be a part of the magic. Now, green is nice. I really appreciate your support. It's awesome. $3 a month. But if you join Yellow, which is up on the screen right now, at $17 US a month, you could join in as many huddles a month as I have scheduled. You can be on all of them. And we'll talk. And we'll just talk about all the things. Mostly umpiring, but like, I'm not here to judge. If we're going to talk about other things, cool. Let's do it. We always end up talking about COVID these days. That makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. All right. That URL works, says Andy Waller. Thank you so much. A great pick of Lena Tice. You know, this is really hard for me because when I was umpiring actively internationally, I have to say the Ireland women were one of my favorite teams to umpire. And I don't know if it's because they feel very Canadian to me. Like culturally, it's just that really hardworking, no F's given, no fussing about, no faffing, but with just this inherent goodness about them that feels very Canadian to me and is obviously quite Irish as well. And I remember I've had some exchanges with some of their recent international players like Sinead McCarthy, who I just has so much respect for, very, very intelligent player. And she said nice things about me in public. So look, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Absolutely loved it. So, but now I'm part of the Wolf Pack and I missed the button. It's hard. It's hard. Look, I'm going to adult this and I'm going to get over all my things. And, there's an @ as well. This is all the social media profiles, right, Katerina? I think it is follow the Hockey World News on Instagram, Facebook, and yes, check out the website. That's okay. We all do. You have a strictly bedtime at 10 p.m. Is this because of Sunday night when I kept you up until like 1 a.m.? Sorry. Yeah, you did, Steve. He's already signed up. Steve Godders. AJ's here. Okay, so if AJ Small was watching, Alex, I called AJ Small Alex, and he's all, my name's Anthony. And I was like, how many AJs can a third team have? Apparently the answer is 2. It's good to see you. And there you go. When umpiring from them, yeah, right? They're really awesome. So I'm going to allow them to be maybe my second favorite team. Darth, you missed this 2 a.m. here. No, you haven't missed it. Darth, we're like live right now. Dude, you're hilarious. You are hilarious. Okay, what other announcements do I have? Don't forget, if you're watching, like the video. That'll really help me out. That would be awesome. Because that's what I feel going on in my head every time a like button gets pressed. And okay, I have to share something with you. Rachel has given me official permission. So can we just take a hot minute here? Look at this woman blowing up Facebook. Oh, damn. I just have to ring it a few more times. Girl. Look, I'm pointing this way. I can't. I'll point that way. Hotness right there. Wait, I even have an overlay that's really good. Check this out. Come on, friends. One of the things I always wanted to do with merch, and I'm not a big fan of people buying things. I am a minimalist myself, so I don't like to get super crazy, and I don't want people to buy things they don't need. Never, never, never. But I have, in my past life, when I was actively umpiring, I have expressed outright fury and indignation at some of the outfits, some of the shirts particularly, that we have been forced to wear because they're sponsored material, or that was the only thing that they had that went into the colors that we had to wear for the tournament. And Are you kidding me? When we look good, friends, we umpire good. Obviously. So I figured that I was going to only make clothes that made me feel good. And it was all about me. God, that sounded terrible. But it was about matching that and that feeling. And I figured if I liked it, maybe some other people would like it. So here is Rachel Davids. I don't know where her wine glass is, but she is sporting one of the short sleeve V-neck uniform shirts. And you might not be able to wear it in your area. I don't know. I hope so. Green fluorescent seems to be, or the fluoro seems to getting really, really popular these days as an all over color. But, you know, it's not, you know, everywhere. So, but when you make it look that good, what? That is really amazing. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for letting me put it up on the screen. I hope everybody got a kick out of that. Okay, I have another screen. Look at all the comments. I can't keep up, but I'm going to try. I wanted to say thank you to a couple of people or another person as well. Last week, Simon Jackson bought me a rosé. So the URL is right there. And let me see. I think I can just see if I put that on the chat. I think it went on the chat. Who knows? But you can now, it says buy me a coffee, but people, I'm not buying coffee. That's dumb. I am buying rosé because I'm not a monster. And Simon Jackson stepped up last week and was a very, very generous supporter. And he's been around for a while, for a hot minute. And I just wanted to say thank you very much, Simon. I really appreciate your support and I love having you around. And thank you for your contribution. I'm not saying I got super drunk, but things may have gotten a little out of control. I'm just saying. There you go. Rachel, you're not sure if you're going to be able to use it with your association games, but there you go. But look at all this love. Yes. Yes. I love it. I should read 15. Wait, what did I miss, Stain? What did I miss? I have to be in bed. Okay, beer sorted. Good. Okay, so Ian's got his beer. Good. I don't know what Stain is inferring. Is that for me? Who knows? Darth, you're on the coffee. All good. And yes, Rachel. Okay. Thank you again for all of your support. Always remember, I really want to try to keep this as open as possible because I know that way I can get the knowledge into the hands of the people who need it all over the world. And maybe you'll be like Simon and you'll be around quietly. And then one day you'll say, hey, I have a chance to give something, to give a little contribution today. And even though I can't do it regularly, I'm going to do it right now. And that is totally cool. And maybe you go through a couple years where that's just not going to be in your wheelhouse. I totally get it. But when you can, it means that other people are also going to be able to take advantage of watching these live streams, participating in the discussions, seeing the other videos that we produce as FHumpires. And that makes a world of difference in our community. So there you go. Are we ready to get on to the topic? Yeah, let's do it. Oh, Hockey World News number 15. Okay. I don't know which one that is. Is that the one that I didn't write for? I've literally missed one. I've been writing for Hockey World News for 3 years and I missed a deadline in January. I just couldn't. And that's probably the one that I missed. Okay, let's get on to our topic today. Peter, I see you're on the broadcast, and this was an amazing, amazing idea. And he wanted us to have a discussion about how understanding team tactics can make us more effective on the pitch. I can see that now. And the professor stepped up on Twitter and actually talked about aerials a little bit, which is always a very common area that we can talk about. But I want to also spend time talking about tactics that involve the things that we need to plan for interventions on and that sort of thing. So, oh, Andy has a food delivery, so we're going to stop and pause for him. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. So I think that understanding team tactics is just the other side of the coin of when we talk about understanding and empathizing with players. We are trying to understand what players are trying to do. And whether it's that they're trying to express a certain skill and they get fouled, but they'd rather continue with the ball and we play advantage for them, or we're blowing a quick free hit in order to give them a self-pass opportunity that cuts out the defender who fouled them. Understanding what a player would want there is important. The other side of that coin is understanding what players and teams might be doing as a collective that are pushing the boundaries of the rules in a way that we're not going to want to sit with. And one of the things that I think, one of the areas that we can talk about this particularly is about the type of press that a team is playing. So I've heard a lot of different terms. So if the words that I use don't describe like exactly the way that you've talked about it in your area, just try to use your imagination or throw out some ideas of things that you guys have talked about. But being on the coach talks that I've been on lately, I've been learning some different vocabulary around this. But there's a variety from just from a 3/4 press, which I believe isn't really a press. It's just a formation that is more of a very set zone that's attempting to invite a team into one space, but not necessarily press the ball. There's a full press where as soon as it's set up, there's a player who's 5 meters away from it, and they're just going bang on, bang on. As soon as the ball gets passed around, they're trying to put a lot of pressure onto that player in possession. To a half-court press where all of the 11 players, including the goalkeeper, I'm not going to leave them out, are behind the center line, and they're waiting and packing that defensive area and inviting the opposition to come forward with the ball into what should be a much more congested and hopefully more structurally contained area from the defender's point of view. So understanding what teams are trying to do with that in front of you will have a big bearing on things like, say, positioning. So one of the, of course I don't have that one set up, but I can do it this way. Understanding how high a press is going to be is going to have a lot of bearing on how far you're going to want to move out. Now, if what we have here is probably a 3/4 press because the press is coming after the ball has been delivered, but then they're coming quite hard. And I think it's important to notice this. Now, this isn't a criticism on this umpire, but seeing how hard that press is coming, you're going to want to arrange yourself further behind the ball. Your mission critical area is always your mission critical area, and you want to make sure that you're going to get there before the team who has just turned over the ball is going to get there first. So that's the first priority. And when people ask me, where should I stand on a 15-meter free hit, for example, or a free hit around that area, I say, make sure you're closer to the goal than probably the highest attacker who's pressing by a good margin. I'd say 15 meters is a good sort of guideline to look at. For me, in this area right here, the player's been under pressure, and the umpire, even though that they're quite close to the ball, that's the problem. They're quite close to the ball. And instead of being out on the sideline, that ball gets turned over and it's going into the circle in a flash. You want to be around the back. You want to be interior. You want to be inside that entire play looking up so that when the ball could get turned over, you're going to be in a great spot to deal with it. So that's one of the things Niels, don't call him out. That's not the point. The point is not to call him out, because I'm sure, as we all do this in our games, where something happens and we go, man, that didn't feel good. I'm going to fix that later. And you do, and you fix that later. And the best umpires in the world know how to fix their mistakes on the fly and make their adjustments. And I'm sure that was an adjustment that got made in that area. So that's one thing. So if you've got a half court press, you don't have to be behind the ball if the ball is starting on the 50-meter line. Like, what's going to happen? They kick the ball? Well, who cares? Nobody's there. Your concern is when the opposition steps into the play and a foul could be committed against an opposing player. If there's no opposing players in the area, who cares what happens? It really just doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're gonna turn your back to the play and just ignore it and look up the pitch. Of course not. But you don't have to be behind all of that and then jogging forward as they start moving up the field. Like that. You're welcome. I'm here for your entertainment. Okay? Now, in addition to positioning, there's a whole other area of things that you're going to start to pre-plan when you see a team switch from perhaps just a zonal front to a much more active and hard press. And that is going to be, you're going to be planning for, from the two sides of the ball, I'll do it that way because that's the best way. What are the teams going to do? So what's the opposing team trying to achieve here? They're trying to put pressure on the ball. They're trying to gain possession high up the pitch, very likely, or they might be trying to gain possession more in the middle of the pitch, but they're pressing their opposition into making an error so that that ball can get recovered later. But they're trying to gain it higher rather than letting the ball float into their zone and a whole bunch of passes to be strung together, and then they acquire possession closer to their circle. So that's the intention of the press. So they're going to be coming hard at the ball. So what often happens is that the teams aren't quite as disciplined as we'd like them to be. So a player will come rushing at the ball carrier and just flatten them. Understanding what kind of foul that could be and what kind of intervention you would need to make is important, because that is not a breakdown foul. They are not trying to stop the ball from getting into the back because they've made a defensive mistake. Nay. They're actually just being reckless as to their actions. So it doesn't mean that, I'm not saying that you're not going to intervene and you're not going to card in that situation, but you're likely going to look at it in a slightly different way. You might be able to get away the first time, maybe even the second time, depending on what level you're dealing with and how often your interventions have been spaced out or how far. You know what I mean. How much time there's been in between the interventions. You might be able to get away with a couple of them where you just blow your whistle, double tweet, and get the player's attention and say, hey, I know what you're doing, calm the heck down. Because that recklessness is still enough to be something that you might need to card. But when you see a breakdown, when a player comes in from a place where they're highly unlikely to make a successful tackle because the ball was breaking away from them, they made a mistake, they mistrapped the ball, they passed to the wrong player, they put it off their own foot and an advantage is happening, those desperation reach arounds, attempts to, shave from the back that make contact with a player's stick or with a body, those are breakdown fouls that you're going to want to deal with much more sternly. Okay? So think about that, how you're framing that. So that is the other side of the ball. in the full court press or the hard press situation where the team who is moving the ball around the back, or they're taking their 50-meter free hits, they're under a ton of pressure. They are more likely to need to commit a breakdown foul in order to stop something that they haven't been able to properly deal with. They're under pressure. They cough out the ball. Bang, they reach around to try to stop it from getting into their circle, especially when they're the last player back. So you're planning out these two things, okay? This team's probably going to be coming a little bit crazy. This team's more likely going to need to break down the play because they're under so much pressure. And that will help you put you in the frame of reference. Okay, well, this team, I've intervened on a breakdown already. So the next time they do it, I think I'm going to have to take this to a yellow card, especially because now we're only 10 minutes from the end of the game. Okay, now I know what I'm going to do if it happens. So that's the pre-planning, as I'm always talking about. Okay, I'm going to take a little pause and see what the comments are saying here so I can see if I'm on a good track. Off topic. Okay, I'm not going to deal with this right at the moment. But here, I'm going to star the comment, Simon, and I'm going to come back to it. Jane was late for a committee meeting. Okay. So let me know what you're thinking about what you've seen so far, or heard from me so far about things that you're going to keep in mind about team tactics. Now, you can take this another step when you're watching the teams playing, because at certain junctures of the game, you're more likely to see a press. When a team is only 50 minutes away from losing by 1 goal, they're very likely going to change something. And that's the fun thing about the quarters that we've seen at the top levels, that teams will take the quarters as an opportunity to fundamentally change what they're doing and just go like bang, and they'll come out and go hard. So thank you, Rachel, that it all makes sense so far. So having that, think about the game as if you were a coach. And if you were team A, what would you likely want to do in this situation? Look at the personnel that they have on the pitch at a certain period of time and say, oh, they got their speedsters out. There's much more likely going to be a press coming. Or, oh, they've got all their old experienced defenders out. They're going to be absorbing a lot of pressure and, and that sort of thing. Okay. So, yes, Simon's agreeing that it's good to take into account the press and positioning. Excellent. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. And it's not about, you're not pre-deciding what's going to happen. You're pre-planning how you're going to react so that the neural connections are made, the wheels are greased, however you want to look at it. In the instant that it happens, you've already got the card coming out, or you've already got your whistle out, you're ready to do it. You've got the plan in place. Maybe you're talking to your colleague about what you're going to do. Like, hey, gang, I've got a hard press coming. I'm staying quite deep right now. Watch my back. And you can have that communication, and that can really help get the two of you on the same page. There you go. Kat, you struggle with half-court press, particularly with men's games. Tell me what you struggle with. I know one of the things is that it can get very boring if the team in possession of the ball moving around the back doesn't fall for it and they're not interested in coming forward. I've seen half-court presses being put into place when it really shouldn't be. And sometimes it's a training, right? Sometimes it's just, hey, we're going to use this segment of the match to experiment with this. How does it feel? How do we do it in a real competitive game? So, we don't have to be super judgmental about that. It's cool. Sometimes that team is not responding to the half-court press and not rushing to go forward because they're still trying to break that down, trying to be more patient, even though they're the team that needs to go forward and score the goal. So that can be harder. So, Kat, you've noticed since there's almost no players in the U.S., your anticipation isn't good when you're in South Africa. Yeah. This is a thing. So I found when I was out at the camp a few weeks ago, and I finally got a whistle in my hand for the first time it was a year. It was definitely a year. And the last match I'd done prior to that, before COVID shut everything down, was indoor, because here in Calgary. And so the last time I'd done outdoor was more than 18 months prior to that. And I went out and I was umpiring the scrimmages and I can't remember what you guys call them. If you call them friendlies or anyway, it's just like a little practice game within a squad. So I was umpiring scrimmages there with, the players on the national team. And as I've told a few people already, I really sucked. I was so bad that first day. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be me. And I had to work really hard to get up to speed without putting too much pressure on myself, because I knew I just needed to get back into the rhythm. I need to remember all the things that I talk about with you guys, but without flooding my brain with things, extraneous information. It's like, what are my habits? Oh, these are my habits. Okay. And then I'd grease the wheel beforehand, and then it would get better. And every day it got better. There really is nothing like being able to umpire in order to get you out there. And it doesn't have to be the best hockey. It doesn't have to be the same level as what you're usually doing, but just getting out there is so, so important. So I get it. Oh, I wonder what this is. I can't see anything. I don't know, Niels. You said something probably very interesting. So Goddard's saying attackers can deliberately foul against teams who are not handling the press and do not have an aerial out. Yeah, well, okay, so what's the intention of the team that's pressing that situation? Are they, and I think we need to be really particular about how we apply the term breakdown foul, because I see a breakdown foul as something good is happening. I have got no choice but to stop this play, try to get a whistle so that I and my teammates can get behind the ball. That is what we mean by a breakdown foul. Now, a deliberate, and that serves a purpose. When teams are pressing hard and they're just being really reckless about it, that kind of can be a form of intent, because they're just not taking the care that they should. And that's what you address when you're intervening. But it's not the same as a breakdown foul, because it doesn't have the same impact on the game. It has an impact on the game. It gets the other team really, really mad because they don't feel safe. But it doesn't have the effect of taking away a beautiful thing happen, because nothing was really happening. Do you see the difference with that? And that might change the way that you address things. You might have to get really, really big on a reckless foul like that. But you may not have to do it the same way. You may be able to use different management tools and a different style of communication than when it's an actual breakdown. So I hope that makes sense. Simon, to Goddard's, especially at times when the play is likely to change. Yes, so it's the change in something good is being stopped. Okay, that's the big key there. There we go. Yes. Okay, so here's something about, team tactics that we can consider as sort of the overall temperament of a team. And again, I want you to tread this line very carefully, because we're not trying to pre-decide if a team is going to be on the nastier side. They get more temperamental or they lack discipline. We are knowing that in the past this has happened, and we develop a plan to deal with it in case it happens in this situation. And we're just having that at the ready again. So, for example, I find it interesting when, if you ever watch the Dutch women, on the rare occasions that they don't score the first goal of the game, boy, do they get mad. And their frustrations show up immediately in the way that they play, because it's not something that they just have a lot of practice in dealing with as a group. Maybe on the club teams they do, but they don't seem to handle it very well as a group. But yes, we all know what it's like when you're really frustrated as the losing side, and you just tend to lose your composure, your emotional maturity. And it's a lot easier to stay composed when you're up. So that's another element that you can plan for as an umpire. So I really like that. So Kat's back to the half court press here. Something the attacking team is doing a good job. You move forward and then the defensive team turns it over. So just make sure that, you know, they can only turn it over to an opposing player. So as long as you're not ahead of that opposing player, you're going to be okay. And as long as you're not more than, I'd say you don't want to be 15 meters, closer than 15 meters to that first opposing player, depending on how fast they are, depending on your angles. If you have a nice interior positioning and let's say it's very close to the end line, for example, they're pressing right at the 15, right? Okay, you've got your own markers there, but as you're moving up and down the field, you need to have that understanding of how fast that's going to be coming at you. If you're dealing with, you know, really high level fit players, or you're dealing with players like me, who is the opposite. So that should work. Like it's logic. I think it does. Let's see. Liz, hi. Sometimes it's hard not to use a boring press as time to drop concentration. Yep. You have to be more watchful of the players and the patterns so you don't get caught. Really great point. I really like this. Let's just give that props, because this is a good opportunity though. Instead of dropping your concentration, is to grease your wheels. So this is when you're doing your pre-planning. You're watching to see, you know, when that left wing is actually going to release and actually going to come and put pressure up. So they've been in a half court press, and then the ball gets to the one player that they want to go after. And suddenly they go into that, you know, two people go forward, like the video we were watching before with Jonas, that it was two players coming into press, and you need to be, okay, if that person goes and they come, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to move into this position. I'm going to get behind here. I'm going to, you know, reset and not get stuck so that you are still moving ahead. Kat, if you're coaching that team, your team would be score first. Yeah. Well, I think everybody would like to score first against the best team in the world, but it's hard. Okay. Yeah. And this is a really good thing if you have the opportunity to get a little bit of video, you know, and get that little video so you can see, because sometimes you think, oh no, I'm really ahead of the play. And then you see video and you go, oh, I'm not. No, I am actually not ahead of the play at all. So having that visual cue, massively, massively important. And I've had, I really enjoy it when people send me little snippets from their games and they go, hey, Keely, what do you think of this? How does this look? And, you know, this is representative. And then we can have a little conversation about, okay, here's some things you can think about and what you can work on. So there you go. Another team tactic that I'd like to draw your attention to is in regards to when goals are scored and we're getting near the end of the game and one team is going to manage the clock. And I love that phrase. I love the phrase manage the clock, because the clock can't actually be managed. It ticks at the same rate as it did before. That's the thing about time. Yes. So what they're doing is they're managing you. And they're managing the pace at which they have been playing and what they're going to continue to play against that ticking clock. And they are going to do everything they can when they're good at it to distract you from taking the actions that you need to in order to prepare. So I did a Ruly Tuesday recently that I was really happy with. I think it brought out a lot of good points. Where is it? Is it here? Let's see if that works. Yes. So Ruly Tuesday 29 on time wasting tactics. And we're not just talking about a team that takes a long time to get the ball, to go trot after the ball that's skirted over to the sideline. They have to go grab and they have to bring it back to the place of the free hit. That's just one way. That's only one. The one that I really love is when that happens and they bring it back to the place where the ball needs to be taken, the free hit needs to be taken. And then that player who's went and got the ball is like, oh, it's not my job to take this. I'm going to float off and I'm going to let my center D come over and they're going to take the aerial. And when they play this magical, yes, it's not my turn. Sorry, after you. They manage to take another 3, 4, 5 seconds off the clock just by switching places like that. That is something that you need to be very, very aware of. And Germany tried to do that a few times against Argentina on the women's side 2 weekends ago. And they didn't get away with it because the umpires were very, very good. And it was Caro and Irene, and they clamped down on it. And so as soon as that was happening, boom. Other tactics that players can use to waste time is to actually, instead of not getting the ball soon enough, they can bring extra balls onto the pitch. Oh, you mean that the free isn't here? Oh, I thought the free hit was here. What? It's not actually here. It's not this ball. It's that ball. Oh, okay. I'll hit this off. Oh, you hit the ball off too. Oh, this is so cute. Oh, so playing hot potato with the ball and ball placement is a hysterically comical way of eating more time off the clock and being sharp to that, understanding what are the players trying to do. They're trying to distract you and they will ask you the questions. They know that if they ask you a question, we just can't help ourselves. And we want to be helpful, so we're going to give an answer. And that helps take more time off the clock too. And instead of thinking about the fact that they know very well where the ball is supposed to be taken from, that they are asking us, oh, sorry, umpire, is it here? I really want to get in the right spot. Did you need it here? Or is it actually over there? And that entire process is there just to put more of a delay on things. Let's see. So in terms of preparing for that, you're going to want to think about when is that going to happen in a game? And honestly, like you can set your watch by it and it'll vary, but it won't just you'll either hear the call come in from the sideline or it'll be, oh, there's 10 minutes left. Now they're going to start wasting time. Oh, there's 5 minutes left. And literally those markers. So it's a good time for you to touch base with your colleague if you can, if you've got radios, and say, all right, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's watch for time wasting. We've got a 1-goal game here. We've got a 2-goal game here. To a certain extent, you might want to be watching it. So again, it's all about preparation. Kat, you umpired a final where one team was in a half-court press the whole time? Ooh, that is awful. Press is short for pressure, yes. And you have to remain calm. Absolutely. Another time-wasting trick is accidentally taking a 50-meter from the wrong place, hoping the umpire will bring it back to the correct place. Yes, absolutely. That's a really good one. So a team might take the free hit that they know isn't theirs. Or they'll take it from the wrong place and just be like, oh, sorry. And all it is attempting to get that reset. So you really have to be preventative, and you have to be preventative. And I say this over and over again, and it's just so, it's funny how seldomly we think of this as a remedy, but stop time. So as long as you're not in one of those leagues or tournaments or things like that where there's a centralized clock, oh God, I hate those. I think that's just, that's terrible. Centralized clocks suck. So as long as you don't have one of those, Be ready to stop the clock. And then you can have a conversation with the player. No, actually, I need that ball here. So once we get that ball here and we get the appropriate player ready to take that aerial out of the 15 and everybody's set up, I'm going to restart time. And if you do that mess again, you're going to hear from me and it's going to have a color associated with it. So getting in there and stopping time actually has the effect of putting more time back onto the clock. Use that when you need to in order to avert what the team is trying to do, which is just trying to not have to play while the time goes. Look, I'm speaking from experience here because I am the worst. I don't know how many games I've won as a captain by getting my team to play all these tricks and to do all these things. Because at the end of the day, we're not trying to make a fool of anybody. We're not trying to make anybody feel badly. We're just trying to win. And it's up to us as umpires to take the steps needed to show where that line is and what you can get away with. Taking care of those things can really reduce the frustration that the losing team has. So you're managing their temper at the same time by assuring them that you are looking out for their needs and their priorities, and that the other team isn't going to take advantage of either of you. Yes. Stop time. There you go, Stain. We're like brain twins. I did get the right sound effect for once. You can also combine different tricks. For example, taking a free that's not yours quickly and then leaving it to the opponent. Yes, in the wrong place. You know, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Look, I've told everybody the story of how I got into umpiring, and it's because I was the designated terrible, terrible cheat on my team as a competitive player. It was the only way I could compete. I didn't have skill. I didn't have athleticism, but I had one of these and I used it. And then they said, you seem to know the rules better than the umpires do. Perhaps you should take a turn with the whistle. And I said, yes, I do know everything better. As soon as they got to my ego, they got me. Tired teams don't mind constant stoppages, so be careful. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're not going to constantly stop, are you, Godders? You do it once. You do it once and you get them realigned. And then you say, I know what's happening. Because, by the way, the next time when you give a card, that's a stoppage as well. Okay, so that should help more than just, if you're talking to one player and you're realigning the ball placement, for example, everybody else on their team is resting. So they're having mostly the effect that they want anyway. So you stopping the time or you allowing them to use up the clock, they get their rest anyway. I was trying to read it and it was all blurry stoppages. It looked like shenanigans. And I was like, oh, I like that word. Okay. So yeah, so go have a look at Ruly Tuesday 29. And if you haven't already, and there's lots of good tips in there. So I hope that helps. Does anybody have any other ideas of different team tactics? I mean, there's always trick plays. Remember the German women's team and their double injector play, which is very specific to FIH level hockey. It's never going to work anywhere else. It only works because there's ball patrols and stopped time for mandatory 40 seconds, no more nor less, according to the regulations. So I thought about bringing up the graphic for that and going through the video, but I thought, no, because I've covered it before and it's very specific. But having an idea of little trick plays that teams might run would be helpful. knowing and aerials, like we can talk about aerials very quickly now, because for me, I think it's important to still have the same positioning regardless of whether an aerial comes or not. Because if you're umpiring at a level where aerials don't exist, well hit long balls that don't get trapped by the 4 players that were in line for it are a thing. Like, that will happen. So you're still in danger from a long ball off the hop, off the first touch. So you want to start being deep enough, and I believe inside the pitch for the first play. And then if that long ball doesn't come either on the pitch or in the air, then you work your way back and your colleague covers across the pitch if they need to for the things that stay in their half of the field. I hope that makes sense. Good. Glad that was interesting, Stain. Always good to see you. So understanding if the skill exists is good, but if the skill doesn't exist, you have other skills to worry about. And the reason that aerials are used is because the long hit ball doesn't work. But if the long hit ball does work, why would you aerial? There you go. Okay. A couple of reactions. FHU reactions. Let's do this. Yeah. This one. Hi, Anthony. The other AJ's on. I just wanted you to know. I didn't start. Did I start early tonight? No. I started my usual time. Maybe I communicated poorly. Tell me if I did that. Okay. So Crispy hit me up with this video from an anonymous source. And given our discussions last week for aerials, I thought this would be a nice one just to sort of work through a little bit. So have a look at this. There's no audio to speak of, so don't worry about the fact that it's muted. And let me know if you have any thoughts on what you're seeing. I mean, you know I have feelings. And I'm going to scroll this back. So aerial is already in the air. And notice what you're seeing from where the goalkeeper is, where the attacker is, and the coming together. How do you feel about that? Tell me everything. Oh, we're back to time wasting a little bit. A team I used to play for used to shout from the halfway line for one of the PC defenders to swap with them. Oh, that was before time was stopped for PCs. Yeah, and there's still a lot of jurisdictions who are playing without stopping time on PCs, so that's a good tactic to be aware of. And that's a lot of nonsense. I have to say, I really enjoy watching the top level, so like the Pro League matches, and knowing that the penalty for wasting time and arguing with the umpire and not getting your equipment on and trying all those shenanigans is a green card, and you play short is just fantastic. It's very, very powerful as a remedy, and it helps get that game moving so nicely. So let me know what you think about this aerial. It is an interesting one. And let me tell you what I see. And you can let me know if you think I'm on drugs. As always. Jane, looks like the attacker moved to the goalkeeper's space, so free hit for you. Yes, I would agree with that. Okay. And remember, as we were talking last week about how a different receiving zone makes something dangerous. This ball is coming quite square down, and it's coming in between where these two players end up being situated. So that potential receiving zone and the bubble, the lit up tube of 5 meters around that is definitely in between where the two players are, which results in this contest. So that is the definition for me of a dangerous situation. So if there's any coaches out there who are saying we only want to call danger, hey, that's dangerous. The reason why it's dangerous is because the ball is landing in a place where the two players are going to be contesting it. Then you apply the criterion, who was there, who was the initial receiver. And for me, yep, it was the goalkeeper. And I agree. Now, the outcome here, with the ball coming down, I mean, I don't know what anybody with a whistle was calling there. It's not too important, but for me, that is a free hit defense as soon as you can. And that can avoid some of that shenanigans and malarkey, because, I mean, that dude's never going to win the contest with a goalkeeper anyway. So we don't like that. Here, I'll let this loop and I will look at what you, Gopi, what do you have? First receive is goalkeeper. Yep. Scott, I feel that's gone to both of them, not just one first. That's okay. But the result of that, Scott, would still be goalkeeper. That would still be a free hit defense. If it's being thrown into an area where two players are occupying it and the reception area is going to be dangerous, I'm adding that in as my sort of, I think this is the way that we're going to be interpreting. We're going to be interpreting this in the future. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, not important. And I mean, this is a really good point, Jane, because this is why we get into bothersome spots of some dangerous play, tempers arising, players getting upset, you know, and that whistle very well could have been a free hit for defense. But when the whistle blows and it's late, after that action has occurred, the goalkeeper might be saying, come on, you're calling that against me? And it's not. But you give that opportunity for that emotional outlet because the whistle is so late and for that misunderstanding to develop. So you don't want that. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, and defender's ball if to both players, says Scott. So that's a good one. Okay. Here is, I mean, that was a fairly easy one, but I thought I would bring it up. But here's a clip it's a pretty long segment. And sorry, I need to unmute this because there's a lot of screaming and a lot of things. This is making the rounds on several Facebook boards, and it's a pretty alarming strip and series of incidents. And the first question everybody wants to ask is, what could the umpires have done differently to stop this situation from happening? This is not one incident. This is not just an isolated, oh, these players, it just happens to be a really big game and it's a big call and that's why they're acting this way. Absolutely not. This is a culture. This is a community in which this kind of behavior is seen on a regular basis. And we just happen to get a video of it that comes out where there's lots of pushing and shoving and chasing and just scenes, as you UK people like to say. It's scenes. So I think the first thing that we have to keep in mind is that we're not here to pass judgment, and we will not pass judgment on what the umpires do in this situation, because this is what we would call the bottom of the slippery slope on which none of us want to be a part of. And this is why we work so hard at all of our other management tools. As I start to lose my voice. This is why we work so hard at our accuracy, our presentation, our positioning, our signaling, our rapport with players, our intervention, our control ladder. This is why we do all those things And we impose disciplinary measures appropriately before we ever get to this kind of situation. I mean, sure, I really don't like the fact that, and I've watched the whole thing. I don't think we're going to watch the whole thing here anyway. I really don't like the fact that both the umpires get pushed and manhandled by a player. To me, that is one of those bright lines. It's not even a line in the sand. It is a hard and fast rule. If I ever get touched by a player and we're not super good friends at that moment, it's a red. I will not be touched by a player. And that is why we take that approach. If you get swarmed like that, you put your hands out. In most of our communities, we do that and we put our hands out. The players will stop right in front of our hands because they know if they touch us, they're gone. Clearly, that's not a problem here. Okay? There's all kinds of things about different kinds of body language and willingness of the umpires to engage with players as the arguments are happening. The inability to use the appropriate captains, like the opposing team coming in there, never should have happened. The opposing captain, occasionally tries to shoo his players away, but he starts it by coming in there and all of his players come join him. Okay, just bloody well stay out of it the whole time. There's even police officers and army there, and they aren't doing a thing. They're not doing a thing. Like, two guys come out and are like, oh yeah, are you sure? Are you okay? All right, we're just going to walk back and, stand where we are. You can see the group of security forces, and you can see them all coming up. There's a big group of them now amassing. But they're just leaving the umpires to do their thing. We don't like to see these incidents ever, but we have to understand that it's not isolated. And I don't like to add fuel to these kind of fires by having big, long conversations about, oh, the umpire should have done this and the umpire should have done that. And there's still more. There's still more carrying on. There's one soldier out there who is pretending that he's keeping players away, and he's doing a terrible job, and it's just not working. Okay. Well, it sure would be for me. If I ever got into a situation like this, I'd be like, nope, I'm done. This game's over. This game is absolutely over. Yeah, and that would be another thing, because by the time I red carded all the players who come up and, and touch me, I don't know what this random guy is doing at the back of the pitch, pointing around and all this kind of thing. It's just crazy. But what's interesting is when people walk away, players follow. So that soldier is walking away and the players are following him. And he's like, come on, let's go. And that's a good tip, I think, for all of you who maybe have to deal with a situation like this, is separating the two teams and getting them in two different places is a very good idea. And as soon as the center of their energy is on you, that's not going to work. So you want to get them away, get them to their bench, get them to an opposite side of the pitch, and get them away from the opposition, because they are just going to fuel each other. Yeah. Not even in this game. I'm thinking that this would have started in the last decade. The way in which those players reacted was pretty crazy. Actually, I haven't seen this part. And then after all that, he skies it. Oh boy. Oh boy, friends. That was fascinating. The squat. The squat was fun. Oh yes, at least Niels, at least that is it's a yellow to the captain, it's a red to every player who touches an umpire. It's all those things. Yeah, the clip is yep. And feel free. You see clips out there that you want me to have a look at and that we can talk about on What Up Wednesday. Please feel free to tag me. But yeah, I saw this in a few places. Oh no, there was actual shoving. There was actually shoving of the umpire. And yeah, Ian, swarming is never good. And I'm talking about a hockey culture. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about what is permitted in that sport, in that community, and how they got there. And is it because that they just let things that would happen in a football match locally happen in a hockey match? And if that's the case, that's the dilemma they've gotten themselves into. That instead of just having fists, now you've got opponents who have sticks in their hands. This is why we're a lot more careful about swarming and violent incidents, because there's weapons about. Serious weapons. The ball, the sticks, all the things. Can't really hurt each other in soccer. Let's see. Duco and Kat are on that. Right. So it's football. And how bizarre. I think I would have stopped to get both captains to join me in a neutral, empty space. I think you don't want those two captains in the same space. So that's what I meant about taking them apart. As soon as the other captain got in there, like things were almost kind of diffusing. And then the other captain came in and started yelling at some of the other opposition players. Obviously, these guys don't deal with each other very well. So, you know, you want to have one umpire taking one team away and one captain and getting them away and solidifying and making sure that captain understands. You even come near what's happening over here, you're gone. So you deal with that, you get them away. And that's only after you know that your colleague is physically secure and you're okay to take your eyes off that situation. And then you can go back and you can help deal. But not until all the tempers are gone. You don't bring the two captains together. Diabolical. Yeah. I'd walk off the pitch too. Yeah, I just wouldn't tolerate this for anything. And Rachel agrees. Can I share the link to the video? Yes, I will put it on the chat. I will put it in the description of the YouTube video in a few minutes, because it's been shared from Facebook, but it's a public page, so I'll be able to do that for you. Sorry, I don't like to play the videos live off browsers because lots of things can go wrong in this world. So there you go. So I guess what I really want to draw attention to is our role as people in the community, about how we deal, how we express our feelings about the situation, and where we're laying blame and victim blaming. And I don't want to add the wrong emphasis and the wrong focus on this kind of situation. The problem is with the entire administration of discipline in the sport in that area, not with whether the umpire should have carded because of the pushing, not because the umpire turned their back and walked away, because actually that seemed to work pretty well for whatever reason. Obviously, it's a good thing to get people disengaged, and all of a sudden they have nobody facing them, and they're like, oh, okay, guess I can't fight anymore. It's not about that. This is well beyond. and we have to know about context. So that is kind of more or less what I wanted you to know about that one. Okay. Right? What a crazy game. Crazy, crazy game. Okay. I think that's it for this week. I've had a great time as always. Don't forget, I'm going to push up the graphic again. There it is. Now it's working. If you would like to contribute just a little bit every month, a green membership is available for you. We would love to have you join the yellow team. For $17 a month, we have weekend watch parties, we have huddles, we have discounts on stuff, and it's just chaos. And if you're part of an association and or you want to form like a Justice League of umpires, how cool would that be? Come on, make up a superhero name for your association. The Umpire League. Like, I'll get capes and stuff. Yeah. Just need 20 people. Get together and we will work on a red association deal for $25 US per person per year. It's insane. It's insane. And that's a way that you can all take advantage of a yellow membership. So that would be it from me. That's the link. I just put it in the chat. And I really appreciate you coming through as always. Please have a little gander at the YouTube shorts and send me a DM, send me a comment on any of them and let me know what you think about the very, very short format. I kind of have like the opposite. I do the live stream for a Keeley hour and then I do a 59-second short. I like the variety. I'm like multi-talented. So let me know what you think. I'd love your ideas for the rest of this series. I'm going to be putting out 30. It was supposed to be for the entire month of April, but it's going to be into May as well. Sorry. Life. And that'll be good. Is that squat in my positioning course? When can you find the review backstory? Okay, that's between those two. Yellow for the captain, crowding red for every player that touches the upper. Yep. On the story of the clip. Yes. It's the Sport Life page, Sport TV or something like that. Who knows? The fact that I didn't see anybody getting carted off at that point would indicate to me that probably not. And again, that is the problem. That is the problem. Like, dude, why is that player of the red team even a captain? Dude. Okay, so Andy's put in the link. Thank you. Hi. Yes, I'm trying. That's part of it. Like, it's the fact that you, Scott, are here, and Simon's here, and Andy's here, and Aline's here, and Niels is here, and Stain was here, and Rachel, and you are. I do feel like I'm talking to you. So, because it would be awfully weird for me to sit in my apartment and talk to myself. You're very welcome. Looking forward to that. Good luck with your vaccination. Andy is getting vaccinated. Is it today or is it tomorrow? Anyway, you're getting vaccinated. I'm so happy for you. I have no idea when that's going to happen. Yes, Goddard's. Call me. Love to hear from you. You're very welcome. And good. Yes, 13 friends. If you're umpiring on Saturday, drop me a note, let me know, and let me know how it goes because I love hearing your stories. Good. I'm glad that was helpful. And thank you, AJ. It's well worth it. Yes, I hope that was good information and what you were looking for, Peter. If I missed anything, if there was something in particular you go, oh no, Keeley didn't cover that thing, please. You know how to find me. You're welcome, Liz. Great to see you. And Adam. And next week, I'm working on a guest. It's hard, though. Ta, says he. Just ta. Great to have you, Kat, as always. Okay. Thanks so much, Gopi, sir. Good to have you. Thanks for staying up late with us. Oh, Kat, you've already got your second dose. I'm so envious. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Gopi starting us Thursday. The rest of us are polishing off our Wednesdays, and we will see you weekend watch party for Yellow on Sunday. EHL. It's going to be good. So come along, and we will see you next week. All right. Bye, everybody.